Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kits traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now, the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Okay, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you are the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Yes, even though I do news and other current events, geopolitical commentary, because again, everything to me, just in my opinion, everything that you're seeing now that's geopolitical, it's actually prophecy being fulfilled. But they would say it's geopolitical because, again, they're not going to give the Most High any credit because obviously, if the Most High's word is coming to pass, then that's a scary notion because they always try to say that they are the good guys and not the bad guys. They always try to say that they are not who they intend or make themselves out to be. They always say that they are honoring things, and they end up dishonoring things, and then they gaslight you and they say, it's your fault. I laugh because I'm sorry, but everything that's going on with Iran, please understand this case study is more for us to see, to witness, to understand. The Most High is exposing everything. He has to. He's an awesome Elohim. He is fair. He is awesome. And he shows and exposes everything at the time of our deliverance because that is part of our deliverance. Not just an awakening, oh, I know who I am and this and that. No, now there's an exposure because now we have to see who the Most High is and how awesome he is. And the timing and the time frame of his miracles, so that when the world sees a disaster, believe it or not, that's a miracle. Think about this. Think about the perspectives. According to Egypt and their Egyptologists and everything else, going over to visit those pyramids, going over and ask about Tut, Moses, and Ramses in that period, they'll say, oh, the information is relatively, it is not there. And then they, oh, I'm sorry, I cannot, it is, the records are incomplete. Yeah, why? Because they had a bad day. They had a bad couple days. They had a bad couple of years. They had a bad couple of moments with the children of Yasharel. They came down. We had a people that came down. Basically, they went up. The mountains, Ethiopian highlands, the Great Lakes area, sub-Saharan Africa. Elevation is higher than it is there in Egypt. I know, I've been to Egypt many times. Been there, done that. When you're in Africa, you actually go up. The highlands, up. I don't need to explain that. Yakoba's done a great job of doing it. You can go ahead, get yourself a book. True Jerusalem, get yourself that book. Just take a look. It's in the book. The Reading Negroes. Reading Negroes. Oh, no, that's dangerous. That's a danger. Stranger danger. These folks are reading. Stranger danger. These folks are now asking questions. Stranger danger. What do they say? The Negro is more dangerous when he's asking questions. Y'all know about the Jalen Brown controversy. He's a smart Negro, NBA basketball player, very smart Negro. What it is more than likely he took some vows and now he's questioning things. And now they're saying, hey, we got Kyrie in this place. Don't go for it. And then they get mad. Why are you not just accepting the narrative that we've given you? That's what they're mad about. You know, the funny thing is that as we're explaining this, you want to know why they're really mad at us? Because we can actually break them down. We know what they're saying. We know how they say. We know how they move. We know exactly how they message and articulate their message. The messaging isn't for us, it's for their own people. Because why? Because we know exactly what they are saying. Case in point, fair use. I want to jump right into this. I try to give a couple minutes for folks to jump on in. I appreciate you all this morning. I had to run a little bit later. I listen. I was in bed last night by about 7:30. My body, when you shut off and you feel like you're going down. Your eyes become heavier and heavier, and things are darker. And I was down. I got up at like 9:59. I thought it was like 1 in the morning. I thought it was 1 in the morning. I checked my clock. I said, it's only 10 p.m. I went right back to sleep. And then I was up at like around 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah, I was done. My body had it. It was an interesting day yesterday. That's why I said thank you, family, for your prayers and your supports. A lot of stuff is going on in the background. I'm not at liberty to share it just yet, but that's why I said please keep me in your prayers. The enemy knows that what we're doing is big. It's global. It's not just here in the United States. It's not just in the continent. It is everywhere. You're just now seeing the repercussion of it. Mr. G says back in the day when a black person could read, it was a death sentence. I wonder what that is for me right now. Since I got my doctorate, man, they'll have to keep me under the the grave. Oh, dismember that Negro and eat him up. Let me not get that started, family. Yeah. I want to go here. Before I do, I want to bring on out some scriptures because I think, and it's not just our thing, but we have to kind of understand where it is and giving some sort of and we could go in a lot deeper than this, but I want to give a little bit more clarity. whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, Blessed be Yahuwah, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. And the reason I come back to Zechariah 11 and 5 is because you have to understand that there's a mentality here when you're talking about vanity and vain imagination. We can give all of the biblical precedents and receipts all that we want. We can go into Esdras, we can go into Isaiah, Jeremiah, we can go into Baruch. All of the canonical doctrine, that's the doctrine that Rome provided, or we can go into even Ethiopian doctrine, which is from the Ethiopian books, Masoretic text. Look, no matter how much they try to get rid of things, the story still remains the same because the Most High's word doesn't change. Because why? Because they don't change. They don't need to change. They'll try to change to fit the pattern, or excuse me, fit that context, but their pattern is locked in. They are locked in. They can't hide it. They can get mad that they can't hide it. But I wanted to bring that on up because, again, now we've got our Negroes, and they really don't. You could tell that they've lost because, again, they're in a panic of sorts. You could tell. Black folks have we're just on out there. We've said, you know what? Whatever they get is going to be on their own merit, not us. Don't involve us in your schemes. Don't involve us in anything. And now they're scared. And now they're scared because now there's an accountability that's being held, and now the world can see it. Like we said, leave them alone. Do you know the issue that they're running into is really simply the fact that, generally speaking, we are a humility barometer. Why? Because naturally they don't really understand the concept of humility. Humility is forced on them. Well, I could do this, I could do that, I could say anything until they realize when they pick up their Popeyes and they get met out in that parking lot by some YNs and they say, who you calling the N-word? And that's the issue that they're running into, is because you're not having the typical African American experience. Oh, you could say whatever your heart's content. They had a generation that they did not want to adhere to that barometer, the humility barometer, and now they're looking like, well, I could say anything I want without any, things. Okay, that's fine. But you know what we're going to do? See, they're not as quick on the draw as they thought they are. Okay, we know, go for your right, go for that dominant, see where things are going, and then guess what? You get disarmed. Oh, but our people don't know how to fight. Who said that? If anything, I'm happy that our people look stupid getting rocked, because again, we were giving up our power. So now all of a sudden, our people are there understanding how to fight, understanding how to post people on up, how to leverage, how to do arm manipulation techniques. Kind of hard going for that weapon if you can't get to that weapon. Kind of hard going for that weapon if you see another black person that's quicker than you on the draw. And guess what's also not happening? Well, you want to know what? We're just going to sit here and get punched in the face. No, we're not. We're just going to sit here and we're going to get deleted. No, we're not. Have you realized that those days are over? There's much more TikTok videos on out there where black folks are like, we're not going to say that because why? Because all of that propaganda stuff was a lie. Do the right thing, and then you get deleted for doing the right thing. Well, at least he was a just and honorable person. What will your eulogy say? This person was a fool. Because you'd be foolish to not defend yourself. But why are they thinking that? Because that's their vain imagination. And now they tried to export that on a global scale, and now they met the right one. Why? Venezuela was a colonized area anyway, to begin with. Everything in South America was colonized. Colonization ran its course here in North and South America. Of course, they weren't going to really struggle like that. They were already defeated when a white person confronted them. Because that's what happens with South American culture. I know black. Come on, Donald Trump, no war. No war, Mr. Trump, please, no war. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not even trying to be facetious. That's what Maduro said. And now he's hanging out somewhere in New York. They didn't colonize the Persian Empire. All these other countries that have been colonized, especially South American countries, now you're seeing why South American countries are all compromised. Maybe except for Brazil. But most of them are. No war, peace, 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 please, peace, peace, peace. I remember Maduro saying that back in November. No, it was September, October time frame. And then they realized they got him scared. He was already done for. Trust me, I'm here in South Florida. I understand. I understand it better than most people can actually describe it. I know black. Now all of a sudden, I have a little bit of Afro Latino, Afro Latina. When I dance merengue, bachata, salsa, yeah, it is black. Now all of a sudden, now Afro Caribbeans, Afro Latinos, Yeah. It's, I know black hip different now. Exactly. Exactly. Sean. Don't worry. What we'll do, what we just did in Venezuela, it's going to be an easy day. See, we hit them. Do you see what that was? That was a definition. That was your mafioso. Hey, look, we're gonna make an example of this guy over here in Venezuela. We're gonna make an example of this guy. So then, hey, we're coming after you next, Iran. Why? Do you see what we did? Did you see the quick work that we did? This dude was always a patsy. Please, 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 no war. Please, please, please. They were already a defeated people. Why? Because they do their assessments. The CIA probably said, yeah, we got people on the ground and we already got this. They're already compromised. We'll be able to get this thing done in less than 24 hours. And they did. Less than 12 hours. Shoot, it was less than 6 hours. My man was already on the plane to New York with the mask and helmet. It was shamed. They shamed him. This was your leader. This was all big talk. Oh, but I know black. Yeah, him and his wife. No, I don't think they got little Marco busy, Margarita, because Russia just came through the other day with medical supplies to Venezuela. But for 25 tons of medical supplies, I thought that they're losing in Ukraine. Isn't that the narrative? They shouldn't even have any medical supplies because of all these people dying, even though they're capturing towns over in Donetsk area every single day. Again, fair use because I want to jump on over to this one. I'm gonna play this and we'll and I'll comment. Here we go.
That you made back in 1988 about Karg Island. And at the time you said one bullet shot at one of our men or ships, and I'd do a number on Karg Island, I'd go in and take it.
Yeah.
Do you still intend to take Karg Island?
So I can't say that to you because if I did, it would be foolish, right? But it'd be nice to make a little headlines, but it would be foolish. But I'll tell you about Karg Island. So we've already.
Are you ruling out a ground campaign in a limited capacity?
I don't want to say that either, but I would say no if I thought it was appropriate. I'd say sometimes you need a ground campaign, but we have other people that will do the ground campaign for us. But we already hit Karg Island, as you know, twice. Even 3 times. I said, hit everything but the oil. Just leave that little area from 25 yards out. Leave that little area. Don't touch the oil, because I don't want that in terms of the world economy. It's a.
I'm going to ask the folks here in the chat. Give me a 1 if you think we're going to invade Karg Island. Give me a 2 if you don't think it's going to happen. Give me a 1 if we invade Karg Island. Give me a 2 if we're not going to invade. I see a lot of 2s. I see a lot of 2s. And that's okay. And that's okay. Because I'm going to tell you this. That's the classic deflection point. Now, don't get your feelings in this. Don't go with feelings. You have to go with what he's saying because again, what he's saying is he always does the opposite. No, I don't think so. I don't think so, but we're not going to rule it on out. It's not going to be us. He's trying to find a proxy force to do the work. Again, remember, oh, it wasn't the United States in Ukraine, and it was, and people were being obliterated. It was proxy forces. It was all sorts of military contractors and everything else. And Russia was able to have all their people or have all the people that they captured. Please do not show our mercenary forces anymore. That was under the Biden administration. Please don't show the mercenary forces. And yes, the U.S. needs the oil, according to. No, you got to remember. You got to remember. He's telling what he is actually doing. He's telling people that they're going to invade without saying that they're going to invade. This is it. These are the dog whistles. Oh, he's not going to invade. Okay. All right. We've understood the game. That's the issue. We've understood the game. We know this is why they don't like us. We can decipher it. Did you not hear what he just said? Well, no. If he said it, he would have said it plainly. Does he say anything else plainly? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're in a time of desperation. They're in a time of panic. He broke. Not only did he break the dealing in good faith. He's broken many ceasefires. He's broken many MOUs, cessation of hostilities. You name it. He's broken it. Well, he's not going to invade. That's why he had proxies. The problem is they can't really get their proxies. You've seen some of the reports that they've tried to invade northern Iran via the use of Kurdish fighters. They've been trying to do that. That hasn't been successful. All of these covert dark operations have not been successful. This is why. Oh, okay, we have a ceasefire. Okay, bring in the Kurds. That wasn't successful. This to me is the last gasp of air. There gets to a point in time when your economy does drown. They're already kind of telling you, hey, if we go into these oil supplies, that is our continuity of government. That is how government, we would say, essential emergency services, emergency essential personnel, that's how they're able to get around. That's how they're able to fill on up and move. Sure, I'll be there in about an hour and 30 minutes. I need to take the bike. I'm about 20 miles away. No. I was about to get you on in, Sister Chantel. She dropped. He is going to try to take Carg Island. And then he'll say, I had to take Carg Island because it was a matter of national security and blah, blah, blah. He's going to try to see who's still going to eat up that lie. And at the end of the day, that actually isn't a lie. It is a matter of national security because they literally destabilized everything with going into Iran. We're on a trajectory of the destabilization of America. This is the end. I don't know how to explain that to people. This is the end. What does that end look like? It could be another 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know, but this is what the end looks like. How did that happen? Well, when they started the wars and all this and all that, and then because the more that they do things, then it becomes worse and worse. Well, they needed AI because AI was going to be for, what do they say, national security, and they needed to do this, and then they rolled out the robots, and then the robots had. You'd think that all this was some sort of a psyop or conspiracy or things of that nature. No, they're showing you. They overplayed their hand. They got real cocky. They got real arrogant. And this is what happened. Shalom, Sister Chantel.
Oh, sorry. Shalom. Shalom to everyone in the chat. I hope you're having you had a good night, and yeah, you're prepared for the day that's coming now. Oh gosh, I've slept really badly on my neck.
I had that happen a couple it was on my back. I slept badly. That happened like a couple of nights ago. But see, when I go down, I have warning signs of when I go down. It doesn't take like a day, it's a couple of different days kind of culminating to that. And then it's like, oh, yeah. So don't worry, you're not the only one that has a crick in the neck this morning.
Yeah, man.
It's somebody on the screen that's definitely is trying to figure on out, how they can get that acupuncture to work, because a lot of these lies, they're just not working anymore.
I think they you know what? Somebody said that I'm so sorry who said it. It flashed up on my screen. Said that that America will not oh gosh, sorry. I'm so sorry. All I'm thinking about is a stupid pain in my back. Yeah, sorry, America will not invade. They always use a proxy, and I agree with that. But the thing is
yeah,
that
absolutely. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, who are you gonna use? Because everybody around that area, at the end of the day, when you've done what you've done, the mess that you've done, and you leave, they have to live there.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's gonna want that's their neighbors. Because here's the thing, people are kind of hip to the game now. They're
Yes.
understanding America they don't look after anybody. They don't honor their agreements. Look at Taiwan, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you're just
Yeah,
talking about Ukraine.
Afghanistan. Look at
Afghanistan
Afghanistan.
and Ukraine.
Yeah. Look, do you think about how messed up that was? Oh yeah,
Exactly.
you were fighting, y'all still lost. You know, we'll still reconcile things. A lot of these folks, they don't even want to tell you, oh yeah, I used to support the US. I used to do this. Look, they're like that. They're literally like, that's just a bad moment in history.
They're gonna plead insanity.
Insanity, yeah. It was a bad moment in history. We got sold a bill of goods,
The
you
sun
know.
baked my brain or something like that. My turban was
Yeah,
a little tight.
yeah. They're supposedly, tens of trillions of dollars in the ground that the U.S. was not able to even access.
Hmm.
You want to know who actually won that war? Who won? China did.
Yeah.
That's why they're getting mad. That's why they're blowing up those bridges. They're blowing up the bridges so China's not able to utilize, because this is the counter to the Belt and Road Initiative. This is the counter. This is an actual strangulation of the West. And at the end of the day, see, Europe will actually survive because Europe is ground. The US
Huh.
actually won't survive this. Because of the actual geographic location.
It's your blessing and your curse at the same time.
Bingo. That's exactly what it is.
When keeping it real goes real wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Ninja Wolf. Yep.
Yeah, and that is why they're here in this time frame. Well, we need to get look. They don't even. What's crazy? They're not even trying anymore. They're not even trying to have because they'll have their little recruiting tools, their recruiting commercials for the military and everything else. They just gave up with us. You don't know who they have on there? They have immigrants.
Mm.
If you're an illegal immigrant, run into the military, you can get a waiver, you can get cover.
It's literally, we're literally watching like Rome fall all over again.
It is. It's the same replay.
Yeah.
But a lot of
They
people.
don't learn,
Go ahead,
do they?
go ahead.
I was just gonna say they don't really learn. They just keep doing the same thing. And that's exactly why I said they're unoriginal. They can't think outside the box. They just copy and paste. They don't have an original bone in their body at all, except for coming up with the worst possible ways in which to end somebody's life.
Yeah, they're
Even then.
very good. Again, that was actually their blessing. Their blessing was to be able to utilize the fat of the land through conquest. Doesn't mean that they're able to do what? They're not able to produce. They're not able to multiply. We are able to multiply and produce. So our blessing has been to be able to produce life. Their blessing has been to produce death and darkness. That's literally what they're going to Genesis.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not making this up. Go look. Father, do you have a blessing for me? That's what Edom was saying to Isaac.
Even me, Father,
What did he
please.
say? He said, look, your blessing is a sword. The sword isn't to produce life. Sword is to take life. It's to produce death. So all these different things now, when people are looking at it, I'm an atheist. I'm this. I don't care what you are. The Most High's word does not change. You could be whatever you want to be. I don't care. That shouldn't throw me off or anybody else in the chat, because his word is still his word. You could choose not to believe it. That has nothing on me. I don't get mad if you choose not to believe it. But I'm giving you the understanding, because each and every day we have been talking about this, and now here we are. It really is. It's really like saying, I don't believe that snakes have venom. And then when you get bit by that snake and then you die because you found out that snake had the venom, whose fault is that?
You're wrong.
We've been telling people, look, this is what the word says. Well, I don't believe it. Okay. Our people get so emotionally triggered. Oh, you don't believe the Most High word? You don't believe it? Like, stop. Who cares?
I did.
That's between them and the Most High. That's between them and the Most High. Who cares?
I'm not even gonna lie, I did,
Stop,
but now it's
look,
like I've
stop.
got to the point where I don't care.
No, stop proselytizing. That's not our job in this situation. I'm sorry, it's not. When judgment comes, what does Isaiah 26 and 20 say? You shut up the doors. Does that say go out in the street and proselytize? No. I'm going to proselytize while the bombs are dropping. All right, go ahead. And the Most High will tell you, your behind's going to get dealt with.
Exactly.
Because now you're going to be going into your own vanity, and your own vanity is trying to proselytize to people that really are just there to distract you. That's it.
I still go out and I still talk to people. Like I got into a conversation with a lady in the supermarket yesterday, and I just said to her straight, just read the scriptures, start with Deuteronomy 28. Everybody that needs to go and read the scriptures need to start with Deuteronomy 28, because you need to know whose story it really is. You're not gonna. Anytime you tell people go read the Bible, I've read the Bible. Yeah, but you don't know. You've read the Bible with the glasses of Christianity, believing that it's those people. You need to know who it is first. You need to know who wrote the story, who the story is about. Once you have that, then you can understand. Every time you read something, you'll get it. That's what I do. And then but I'm not going to hold their hand and drag them along. If people ask me questions, I'll give them the answer. Give them sort of like, like a little starter pack kind of thing, And then after that, if they don't want to believe it, then there's nothing I could do. I'm not going to break my neck to try to get people to understand. I tried to do that. I really did. And it was like, it ended up causing me harm. I got labeled the crazy one and so on and so forth. And I'm just waiting for people to start saying, "Oh, what's going to happen?" I'm like,
now they want to have.
I told you so.
Yeah, now they want to have conversations, and I get that all the time. Now they want to. Well, can I ask you something? Well, let me ask you something. Like, look, I'm not saying anything on my own volition. I'm telling you what the word says. Did you read the scriptures? I tell you the scriptures every day. You can even Google. Shoot, you can even ask Chat GPT. Now all of a sudden, Chat GPT is saying, well, these scriptures, and it tries to be real coy about, the black woman is the seed, or the genetic code. It's actually not the seed. We are the seed. Men are the seed, but they are the holders of that genetic code. But it is technically men, but that's the story for another day. But they're trying to say, it's corrupted, now they're trying to softly explain these genetic aberrations. Now they're doing it. And I thought that was incredible to see this clearly Caucasian lady asking the question, because again, they listen to us.
Yeah.
Because then they have questions and they have to find out, well, wait a second. I was supposed to be superior.
The sun is making them question everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they tried to do the sun test, the sun challenge.
Yeah, and now they're asking like, well, what about this? Well, and then the robot tries to be real coy and sneaky. Well, the black women, and it's still trying to create the contention of divisiveness, because again, in their mind, oh, okay, well, now I need to try to manipulate or do something with the black woman. Because why? Because generationally speaking, that's what they've always targeted. That's who they've always targeted. They're not sneaky.
Mm.
The problem is you have black men like myself that are going on out there and say, hey, leave our people alone. That's black men and black women. Leave us alone.
Mm-hmm.
You already know. You already see it. We can't really survive. And it's not us taking them out. Remember, they would always say, oh, you're not going to annihilate us. We're not annihilating anything.
We don't have to. You're doing it yourself.
Remember, all the, what did they always thrive on? They thrived on their science. Remember, their science was what? Evolution.
Mm.
Oh, something inferior will not be able to survive. They said this.
The Most High is just putting it out there. Like, okay.
Right? They were real confident about that. Like literally, this comes from their mouths, and they were real confident about that when it wasn't affecting them like that. They were very confident. Now it's affecting them, and now it's like, well, wait a second. We really can't do that or say that anymore because again, we're getting torn up. Yeah.
You ever notice that they try to deny white supremacy? That's the reason why.
Yeah. Well, that's now they're getting tore up because again, everything that they've done, they're mad that they've laid the case and no, you're getting prosecuted on your own words. Just like what Trump said. Look, 1988. Well, we're going to take Carg Island. Do you think that in less than 40 years that dude's sentiment has changed? Absolutely not. Because it's not just his sentiment, it's the sentiment of this nation. Especially here in the United States. And I know that it's a little different for you all because, again, I live here. I understand it. I understand this nation. I live here. But you all still get the residue of the influence. So now you all are starting to see how that's going. And guess what you all have done as a people, especially over there in Europe? Don't involve us in your wars.
Yes, because I was going to say to you earlier, they don't have any more proxies, especially around that region. Nobody's going to fight for you. You can't go to the east because the east is pretty much your enemy. And you cannot even ask your so-called allies because as far as they're concerned, how are you an ally when you're threatening to invade another ally's nation? The whole of Europe is like, well, you think you're going to invade Greenland? Are you crazy? What are you smoking? Like, no, that's not going to happen.
Help us out with Iran. So when we're finished with Iran, we can go to Greenland. Does that make sense?
If I'm going to be honest, I kind of feel like as if secretly Europe wants America to just get beat down. Yeah. Because if you're going to be honest, it will solve a lot of their problems as well. It really would. If America was kind of brought down to a certain level, it would. The thing is, they're not looking for America to be completely, utterly destroyed. What they're hoping is that they lose their dominance. That's what they want. Now, obviously, that's not in the mind of the Most High. The Most High is like, oh, you can You would want that.
it's not the dominance. It's to lose the, because again, when you're dealing with arrogant, the vanity, it makes it hard for people to negotiate with folks. So all America's really doing is they're throwing Europe into the arms of Asia, China. And what's going to end up happening is this. Remember, the people that lose, right? They're not the winners. The winners then get the winners then dictate the narrative and the storyline. Oh well, America actually did this. America actually did that. Look, do you think that they could even go so far as to say this? And I bet I need to be careful because they could shut my channel down. They could actually be so far to say this, even the Germans. They could say, listen, it was actually America with the Nazi ideology, because we didn't have any type of Nazism or ideology until these folks, the Germans and the influences, when they went to the United States and they saw Jim Crow in action.
Yep.
Oh, America can get thrown all the way under the bus. That's why they're afraid. That's why they're afraid. That's why Marco Rubio's trying to say, "Oh, we got to go after the ICC." Because why? Because that's the whole scenario. Hey, you've not just gaslighted us here. You've gaslighted Caucasians, Asians, Africans, you name it.
The whole world.
The whole world.
As it is written.
That's why they're so afraid. And I'm telling you, look, understand their actions. Their actions are telling you what it is that they're afraid. Yet we can get the blame on this. We can actually get the blame on that. We can actually do this. Well, look, this genocide is the byproduct of this. Because why? Where was the original genocide at? Here in the United States during the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
They know.
That's the stain that bothers them. That's
Yes.
I keep saying, you guys are like a walking crime scene.
Yes.
They detest you. They cannot. It's like, imagine somebody off someone, and every time when we see it in films where they'll show like a criminal has done something, and they see the ghost of the person that they harmed just plaguing them. It turns them insane.
Yes.
That's what that is. You are a walking crime scene in their face. That's why every time you mention slavery, Jim Crow, anything to do with that, even what's happening today, it irks them. It's like when you see a cat just literally go. That's what happens in their soul, in their spirit. They cannot take it.
Yeah. Why do you have to bring up that? Why do you have to bring and then you refer to them in that Eastern Mediterranean nation? Well, they say that to this very day. Well, that's different. How? See, when you have accountability, that messes them up. When they have to do these types of interviews, well, they broke the thing. No, they didn't. They were waiting on the United States to do what the U.S. does. Why? Because when you understand the case study of Black folks in this land, they're always going to retaliate. They're true to their nature. They can't escape their nature. They're always going to retaliate. They're always going to do something crazy. Why'd you do it? And they get embarrassed because they can't explain why they did it. They get embarrassed because they know that those types of actions, it's almost animalistic in of sorts. It's almost an animalistic response. You couldn't control your behaviors. I felt threatened. How were you threatened when they were talking? I felt this. How did you have that feeling? See, again, you let somebody talk enough, they're going to tell them themselves.
Yeah.
The actions speak louder than words.
How you feel threatened from a people that have done you nothing. And even when you do the worst atrocities to them, they still do nothing to you. The history doesn't support your view. How do you feel that? It's like, you remember Ghost? You remember the film when all those spirits, when somebody wicked dies and they're getting dragged to hell by those dark black spirits. It's kind of like that, but instead of them being dragged to hell, that's what plagues them every time. And you're like, do you know? I'm gonna say this, and I don't. This isn't a sympathy thing. In a way, it kind of is, because to be. Can you imagine? Just try to put yourself into that mindset, and just sit with it, and just feel, how do they function, knowing how they feel, and the guilt. Somebody says their guilt is eating them up, and that's what it is. But it's a guilt because you refuse to acknowledge it. You refuse. You don't even want to hear. And the thing is, they don't want to hear because they don't want to stop what they're doing. So it's a sickness that they don't want to hear it. They don't want the guilt, but they don't want to hear about the guilt because they want to continue doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that level, that mindset. It's actually quite sad. You're not free. And the simple fact is that you held Christianity. We never had this hatred in our hearts. We went along with it. We worshipped your God. We loved Jesus. It was never a color thing for us. We didn't feel like, oh, you're this, that, and the other. Why does he have to be white? We just believed that he loved us. But with you, it's like, it's not enough. And you have no peace. You have nothing. Even Christianity can't even save you, because all you have to do, as you preach, all of them preach, just let go, cast your burdens to Jesus, and you can't even do that.
Mm-mm. Well, that Christianity can't save them anymore, because when you say, well, show me that in the scripture, or then you show them the word, well, what about this? Or what about that? That whole seminary type of approach of, well, you can do whatever you want to do.
Oh, no, I'm not referring to doing whatever you want to do. I'm referring to literally being able to go to Father and just repent and seek forgiveness. There is like to be able to, all of us.
There's an action to it. That no. When you're doing that, what you are doing is you are being accountable. They don't want to be accountable. We've already explained that. They don't want to be accountable. This is now why they had these issues going on. And shalom, brother Asaph, because this is. Go ahead.
It's the same thing over here as well, because when you point out to the average English person, European, that people like Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's a sitting member of Parliament, and also the former Prime Minister David Cameron got reparations for slavery up to 2015, and the other parties like the Japanese and those people, Middle Eastern people that got reparations, and you put these facts to them, they want to come up with all sorts of denials constructed from the architecture of denial, like we ended slavery, which is no defense at all. Because if you are a murderer and a criminal and you stop being a criminal, those crimes are transferable, because the state, instead of the state paying us back as a people, they paid the former slave masters. And the other issue is that, we had ships patrolling to stop slavery. That and taxpayers paid for that. that's another scam as well, because Napoleon and the war was ended by the French, and then the slavery was ended by the French. Sorry, I'm kind of going kind of quick. Slavery was ended by the French, and then Napoleon brought it back, right? Between 1806 and the so-called abolition, and the British didn't want the French to profit from it. So them saying that they're stopping is a false narrative created by the academics. They have to pay, and they will pay. The fact of the matter is the ICJ, the ICC, and ICJ, we can file cases in either court because there's no statute of limitation on human trafficking and on enslavement and transporting people. And in fact, we can also go after them for splitting up Africa in between 1834 and 1835 because they had laws on their books like the Westphalia Agreement in 1648, which I pointed out in my Masters of the Universe book, that specifically inhibited all countries from invading one another and then taking sovereignty from them. So we got them on every corner that they want to turn to. And I think if we have Hebrew Israelite lawyers and other people, I mean, it doesn't matter whether they're YT Africans, because they did a magnificent job when they brought the case against that Eastern Mediterranean country. They will find themselves in soup. They have to pay. All the journalists in the top newspapers like the Telegraph, the Guardian, and so on, the Mail, are all up in arms over here because they know that there is liability, and we've proven liability, and we're all on one page, and we've got to get paid.
Exactly. Shalom, Minister Rick. Go ahead.
Shalom, Minister Rick.
You said something. Can you hear me? All right. All right. He may still have some issues. You could chime on in anytime, but let me go ahead. I'm gonna put this. I put this on this article on here. It says RIP the U.S. State Department. This is from Financial Times. This was published 14 hours ago from Alec Russell, Abigail Hosfloner, and Ian Hodges. And for an ambitious American diplomat, it is required the time to be scouting for a new role, or it is quite the time to be scouting for a new role, at least on paper. As of late June, more than half of American ambassadorships were vacant. More than half were vacant, including high-status posts from Germany to Saudi Arabia. For would-be African hands, there is a particular opportunity. Nearly 80% of U.S. embassies on the continent do not have an ambassador. Why is that? They're pulling back. These are the numbers. Why do you pull back? Number one, you can't afford to really probably have an embassy like that. And number two, your influence is gone.
It's behaving like it's declaring war on the whole world. You only withdraw embassies like that when you've got serious diplomatic incidents. But it proves how broke the America is now.
It really is. It really is. And now you're starting to see that with actions. Hey, we're not even trying to diplomatically engage. That's why I say, when you saw that interview, if you look at that interview from Fox News with Trump, well, we were just on the phone an hour ago with them. With them. Who's them? They weren't on the phone with Iran. They have folks over in Iran. They're marching with red flags. Look at this. This is as of not even a couple hours ago. They're marching with red flags. They're in the streets. They're protesting. Because why?
Mm-hmm.
because
Good.
they're in war mode. Sorry, go ahead.
All these countries that secret deals have been cut and handshakes have been cut, like how they cut the Saudi Arabia oil deal with a handshake, and I mean other deals that we don't know about, is all going to start surfacing. And when all these deals come out and they put America under the bus for what they've done, especially especially with the deals done to our countries, Africa and the Caribbean, and us in the diaspora, it's going to cause problem. They're going to have to pay. I don't know what is going to happen in the next couple of months, but I pray to Yahuwah that I'm still around and I'm still healthy and I'm in my right mind and all that kind of stuff to see what's happening, because it's getting really really bad now for them.
Let me because I want to share this. This is from NBCnews.com. I'm just saying, when there's smoke, man, there's fire. Trump says FBI is wasting their time investigating Lindsey Graham's death. Nearly 20 FBI and other federal agents were at Graham's home near the Capitol on Monday. Director Kash Patel has said his agency is assisting local authorities. Why would he say that? Why would he say that? But this is July 14th. President Trump said Tuesday that he is aware of conspiracy theories circulating about the sudden death of his friend and ally, Senator Lindsey Graham, but declared the FBI is wasting their time investigating the matter. The president responded to reporters in the Oval Office who asked him why FBI agents were at Graham's home just blocks from the Capitol on Monday after the 71-year-old senator's death on Saturday. I don't see a lot of evil there, Trump said. I know there's all sorts of conspiracy theories going along, and I think the FBI is wasting their time if they're doing that. Well, the thing about these assassinations, especially nowadays, they want to make these assassinations look very much natural cause of death. That's why back in the day, the best poisons just did not leave a trace in the body. It passed, and then the damage was done. And to me, this whole article is weird. Exactly, Cynthia. Don't you want to get through this, or else, in my opinion, more than likely, something is more than what it seems or more than what they're telling us. And he's obviously scared in disclosing information because they're showing that there's an active pursuit against him. Now, understandably, he's not going to get any sympathy over in the black community. Sorry. You're not going to get any sympathy for anybody around the world. Sorry, you're not. So the reality is this: there are a lot of things going on that, look, if you have to have this story like this, there may be something more to this. We may not know, but somebody probably knows. And more than likely, someone probably has some details. You know, the reality, when you're dealing with things of this nature, information's key. Well, I know the truth. I know what really happened. I know, you're gonna hear people say all this stuff. I have somebody that knows somebody that we get it. Iran was literally, they weren't saying sorry. They weren't saying, oh, your condolences. They didn't care. And matter of fact, they doubled down.
Did
So
you see the
yeah.
picture of him of your so-called senator on the NBC picture post? How he was dressed in the blue dress.
There were some oddities about them, and things were always said regarding lifestyle section, or suspicions. I would say that suspicions. But to me, I'm sorry, you're literally in the midst of a war. See, there are covert operations and there are overt operations in warfare. That's how that goes. A lot of things aren't fought with just the bombs and the missiles. And speaking of bombs and missiles, look, Yemen did some damage to an airport over in Saudi Arabia. I kind of already knew that airport was going to get taken on out. It's so there's like a little notch, a little dip that cuts through from Yemen, or excuse me, into Saudi Arabia, into Yemen from Saudi Arabia. Kind of like a little tail, and it buffers out into the Red Sea. So it's less than, I think, like 30 or 40 kilometers from the border of Yemen. And it's a very much easy target. Excuse me. And what they're able to do, that's where they launch a lot of their operations from. So more than likely, the jet that was used by the Saudi coalition, I'm not even going to say the Yemeni government, because I really don't think that there's an actual Yemeni government. But from the Saudi coalition, I think that's actually the worst or the best way to describe it. Um, that's more than likely where those operations came from in terms of the bombing of their airport. So in doing so, that retaliation, the retaliatory strike, was launched against that airport. And now, what they are truly afraid of is a Red Sea blockade. And that Red Sea blockade is for real. Once you have that Red Sea blockade in place, the only way you're going to be listening to Dr. Karis Copeland of Covenant Awakenings is either through a string and tin can or smoke signals or Morse code. Because here's this article, because there's so much news that's happening. Please bear with me, family, because there's a lot of news. This is from NPR. U.S. and Iran standoff over the Strait of Hormuz intensifies. No, I didn't want the Strait of Hormuz. I was trying to do the Red Sea. Sorry about that. Let me Let me delete that article. And then I've been doing that right. Yeah, because there are Houthis in the Red Sea. There are concerns about that. There are concerns that the Houthis could or will impact the Red Sea. Let me do this. This is just now from Crypto Briefing. But I would say, look, in terms of credibility, I always, it's not even allowing me to. This is another article YouTube isn't allowing me to post. So I'll just share it. Yeah, they do not like stuff like this. Oh my goodness. It's probably because it's like Crypto Briefing or something. They're probably thinking it's like a, go to my crypto and, blah, blah, blah. So more than like that's what they're probably thinking. But I'm going to give you this, what it's saying. This is from cryptobriefing.com. The article is by Stefano Gomez. As of today, July 15th, the Iran-aligned Houthi movement has declared a ban on, this is what they're saying, Israeli-linked vessels in the Red Sea and has recently attacked 2 commercial ships in the Gulf of Aden. The escalation raises concerns of a potential closure of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which alongside Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz threatens a substantial portion of the world's oil and gas shipments. The Red Sea has become a critical route for Persian Gulf exports since the closure of Hormuz earlier this year. Analysts warn that the continued or intensified Houthi activity could lead to a significant spike in oil prices, possibly reaching $200 per barrel if the Bab al-Mandeb is fully obstructed. Current market pricing suggests a low probability of 3 points. So they're just giving their little probability factors. But the reality is, this is a fear that people are seeing. And this fear is perfectly rational because let me go to a little bit of a more credible news source. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't have any issues with this one. No, it doesn't. Okay, so YouTube does not have any issues with New York Times. All right, got it. Oil shipping flights disruptions are back as U.S.-Iran war reignites. Higher prices for energy, food, and air travel are likely to persist as the two sides escalate their clash over the Strait of Hormuz and launch airstrikes in the Middle East. This is again is as of today, July 15th, from Francesca Regalado. Global oil market, shipping, and air travel are again facing disruptions as the United States and Iran ramp up hostilities in the Middle East. American warplanes have struck hundreds of targets in Iran over the past week, according to U.S. Central Command, while Iran has resumed attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz. So I don't like their reporting. I don't like their reporting because what they don't report, they don't. You could tell when you're reading this media, they don't report everything. They just give you, oh, resumed attack on ships. Why did they resume attack on ships? That to me, that's not credible. That's actually not Germanism, or excuse me, journalism. That's propaganda. Like, if you can't tell the truth, do you understand? This is now an information warfare that you're not going to know the truth. What happened? Well, the MOU had been violated by the United States, which prompted Iran to respond, and now you're in the second. What does the Strait of Hormuz says? Well, the U.S. did this, the U.S. did that. That to me, look, they talk about disinformation or fake news. It's the people calling fake news that's pushing out the fake news. So I need to be careful because other channels have gone down when they call out these idiosyncrasies in the reporting, because what should be in the scope of that is the fact that there are also military strikes, or strikes on military bases, rather. And these strikes on military bases are the direct results of how the lack of U.S. diplomacy is not there. You don't need diplomacy. Again, as Brother Asaph stated, you don't need diplomacy when you have a global war. Sister Chantel, go ahead, because I haven't heard from you in a while. Unless you walked away.
No, I'm still here. I'm listening. I'm listening. I was kind of busy doing something, but I am actually listening. What was the question exactly?
So I wanted to make sure, because I wanted to ask you this. Because in this article, they're talking about oil shipping and flights. Now, all of a sudden, the U.S. was doing all this, and the timing. Okay, let's think about this. The timing's always impeccable. I always say that there's a timing for a reason. The timing's always impeccable. Sister Chantel, who's getting ready to play this afternoon? Or my afternoon, your evening?
I don't know. Do you know what I have? I stopped following.
It's England and Argentina.
Right, okay. England and Argentina. I literally stopped following. I stopped following.
Sister Chantel, you sent me something about the YTs over here complaining about the Hebrew Israelites in the team when we're the ones who are winning for them. I saw that as well. They're not happy with us even being in their football team, even if we're winning and scoring goals for them.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that amazing?
I sent it to you as well, Karis.
Okay, I'll have to take a look. But isn't that amazing?
It's absolutely crazy. They don't want us in nothing at all. So what's the point? It's better that we start to delineate from them properly, and that they pay us and we go, because they just don't want us here. Even if it's to their benefit now, they just don't want us here, none at all.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you were in a chain and you're in captivity and you're underfoot, they just don't want to have nothing to do with you.
Mm-hmm. As long as you're just sitting there enriching them and you don't take any glory, and you don't take any glory from them, and I get it. Look, that's how I spent over 2 decades in the military. I got it.
I did it in corporate life as well. I used to train my bosses, and I used to see when I saw guys that didn't even have a bachelor's degree get promoted to be my boss when I had 4 degrees. and I couldn't do nothing because if I said anything, I wouldn't be able to feed my family nor pay my bills. So I just had to suck it up until I couldn't take it no more. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and then I went and I did something else like you brother Caris. But the thing is that we're only occupying time now because it won't be long until we're out of here. I'm just tired of them. Every morning now I wake up and I see this place. I'm just tired of it anyway.
Well, now they're mad because everything has been mismanaged into the ground. They're not able to have the influence that they once had. Look, and I knew that when Jude Bellingham had scored those 2 goals to bring to bring them up out of the quarterfinal to the semifinal, right, against Norway. And Norway wasn't a little, small nation in terms of soccer. They had some
Yeah, because they
powerhouses
beat
on
Brazil.
that
Yeah,
nation.
they beat Brazil quite comfortably.
Yes, they did. And the thing is that Harry Kane, they showed his image. I'm like, he didn't even do anything that game. I'm
No,
like,
it didn't.
they
That
yeah,
I know.
like
Yeah,
yeah, I'm like, Norway shut him down. But the problem is that they could only shut down Harry Kane. They couldn't shut down Saka and all their other folks that they had, Madueke, and it's a good squad. They have a really good squad for the UK. But again, the UK always internally hemorrhages because the black folks on that squad are always dealing with racism. So when they say
Yeah,
how come they can't deal with this? Look, when they were in the Euros, remember that? They were getting
oh
called
yeah,
the hard R and everything else. This was only like not even 2 years ago. You
yeah.
see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
now, if they win the championship, look, I would say this. I don't want to hear any type of British fan say anything to them because, to be quite honest, they really don't support the team. They support the white folks on the team. They support the Declan Rices, right? They support, their what's that? What's the one star? Gordon, Alex Gordon,
Yeah,
that's going to
but
Barcelona.
but this team is not as good as the team with David Beckham and them lot in it. But the thing that this team has, which the other teams haven't got, is that togetherness because all the guys kind of grew up together.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's not that deep prejudice that the other England teams have had, and you
Hmm.
can see the way that they interact with each other.
Hmm.
It's a genuine friendship and genuine love between each other there, and to
even
some
with
extent,
even with
uh,
the team that David Beckham had, they
yeah.
they they weren't as good as, well, they were good. They were really good, but they didn't win. They
And
didn't
No, they
win.
were
yeah.
exceptional. They had some guys with some exceptional skills on it, but they didn't win because they
Hmm.
didn't play together. But the thing is, this team is not has has a few fantastic players on it, but the thing is that they gel together. And what
Yeah,
makes it worse is that this manager wants to win, and he's loaded the team with Hebrew Israelites, just like
Hmm.
how France would load it with Hebrew Israelites. He doesn't care. He just wants the
so
best chance to
just
win.
like
And
just
that's
like
Tuchel.
Yeah,
And that's Tuchel.
yeah, too cool, too
And
cool.
Tuchel. And just to give you an understanding here, uh, I like Tuchel, okay, because Tuchel got Chelsea to the Super Cup and they won the Super
Yeah.
Cup.
just
Okay.
like Arsenal as well. Come on, let's not. Let's not.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But but
No,
quite a few of the
I
guys on there are smaller anyway.
yeah,
huh?
yeah,
What's
yeah.
Quite
Yeah, and brother Garth was right. Yeah, they had Patrice Evra, they had Ashley Cole, they had
yeah,
a
yeah,
bunch of people,
yeah.
there on the England squad. But again, at that time, just because you're named to a squad, that's even like with Team USA. You still have black folks on Team USA from Toby Jones and everybody else, but you understood that back in that day, they hated black folks being on there because they would even tell them, like, this isn't your sport. You need to be playing basketball. You need to be playing football. This is our sport. And guess what? And the U.S. always sucked. We already knew this U.S. sucked. The only reason that they were even there and they got better over these last couple of years, I'm going to tell you why they got better over these last couple of years, because we actually had black folks that were playing soccer. I'm sorry, that was the case, and I can name that. Yeah, and I can name that. You have Weston McKinney. You have now Tillman, who showed on out. You had Adams and other folks. You have Wea. You had a lot of our people that were there that if they had played, and that's the whole reason, if they had played, they were trying to play a hurt Christian Pulisic, and then he comes to find out that he had a stress fracture. Well, then why were you playing him? He wasn't even 100% anyway, because that's the model of white supremacy. I don't care. They're going to have me play even to our own detriment, even when we're not able to win. And again, I say this because these games here, they're supposed to represent, this is the Greek and Roman philosophies here, right? If I can show off my talents and skills in these games, right, that also then shows the people of the world, how are dominant. Yeah, don't get it twisted. That's why they were always pushing Team USA for what? The Olympics. I want to be like Mike. Look, you understand the best foreign diplomacy was through a ball. That's why I talk about this. Best foreign diplomacy. Why'd you have those quote unquote years of peace in the 90s? Not really, but it was a peace that the U.S. wasn't actively involved in a war. And the reason that the U.S. wasn't actively involved in a war is simply because, I'm going to state this, you have more black people that were actually more civically involved, i.e., the Gulf Wars and things of that nature, General Schwartz, Colin Powell, all this stuff. Oh, people were proud to be serving in the military. They're proud. Hey, look, I'm an American. I don't know what you're talking about. And then that all slid because, well,
you had Condoleezza Rice as well, who knew what she was doing.
Yes,
to some extent.
Slid. Yes, it did. And it all slid because why? Because they took us for granted. Okay, that's the case, and we're gonna still delete you. And then then you got the biggest whiplash, because remember the second election for Obama, that was really the rise of Trump. That was the rise of the Trumpisms. And now this is the end. This isn't the rise of Trump. That was America. Let me just tell you that was the spirit of America. That was the principality of America. We're gonna have this black person, this of some sort of Negroid descent.
Some sort of.
And I say that because he's mixed, So I'm just saying that, but that's the truth. This person that is melanated, and now he's president, and now, globally speaking, that did bring the U.S. to the top. But what was also happening, you actually had an amount of wealth within the Black or African American community that was being enjoyed. And remember, they were saying, they're taking our jobs. Well, what's jobs? It wasn't that we're taking the jobs. We were actually working on a more level playing field, right?
Babylon can't become sweet for the Hebrews.
Yeah. And again, yeah, he was never really for us, but that gave us a sense of comfort, right? Even though it was a false sense of comfort, it was very false, because then the retaliation that provided the retaliation. Oh, see, we're going to make America strong again. What does that mean? They were mad that their strength had been usurped.
Make America strong again kind of feels make America do what America's always done. Going go into other lands and just wage war. That's
Mm-hmm.
because like you said, their strength is through conquest.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
who is it better
yeah,
than America?
and don't get it twisted. There are still conquests within the Obama administration. Don't get that twisted. There are still conquests.
Hmm.
The issue that was going on was that domestically you had a semblance of parody of sorts, even though it wasn't. They tried to show or demonstrate that there was parody. You know, hey, you have these rich young black folks. They're in their late 20s, early 30s. They're getting it in. They're owning homes, right? They're doing the American dream, even though the economy was still very much on the fringe, just like what it is. The economy's been on the slide since really 2008, and now, now this is the culmination of it. Why is America going to war? Because this is it for them, for this
It's
nation.
a very good rap pocket, that's why.
Yeah, and it's hard for people to truly understand that when you are in this last these last throws of sort, these throws become very uncomfortable. Well, why are they doing what they're doing? Because they ran out of money. America can't run out of money. Yes, they can. Money isn't just money, it's influence and power.
Hmm.
You can print as much stuff as you want to print. If people don't respect that you printed to oblivion, all you've done printed was a whole bunch of ones and zeros and paper that is meaningless. And they can't even print the paper anymore because now a paper costs more than an actual dollar. Think
Hmm.
about that.
That's crazy.
Think about it. The lowest denomination here in the United States is about to be not even $1. It's about to be $5. That's gonna be your penny. That's gonna be the lowest denomination in the near and dear future.
Boy, it's sounding like the Jamaican dollar, isn't it, Sister Chantal?
It does. Oh my gosh, when I went there and I saw it, I was like, what is this? I'm seeing hundreds of dollars for one simple thing. I'm like, what? Oh my gosh, it's third. Basically, that is third world economy.
Yes, because why? You don't really have a parity in terms of your pricing. And now that's what's getting ready to happen. When they say $200 a barrel of oil, there are going to be countries that's going to be able to easily afford that. Countries that are still within the US dollar system is not going to. So imagine what then offsets the oil? Gold.
Mm. Actually, I just wanted to point out I was wrong. It's not third world economy. It's a colonized economy.
Economy. Yes. Colonized. Yes, absolutely. Third
Because
world is just not developed. Colonized just means it's developed. And, even though you have an economy, the economy is still very pretty much rough.
mm,
What it says the dollar is now worth 0.02 cents. That's from Peekaboo Peekaboo. And the reality is that actually, I believe that is actually the case. A couple of years ago, when I was really beginning my my understanding in terms of monetary policies and those types of dictates, um, the dollar was only 5 cents. Was only 5 cents, but he's saying actually 0.02 cents. And when you're talking about 0.02 cents, that actually means that technically speaking, that is $50 equals $1. That's the parity. 0.02, if I'm not mistaken. If my maybe let me just make sure. Let me get my calculator on out because my math may be wrong. My math may not be mathing.
That's really bad, regardless.
Yeah, so it is, but why is it that bad? Well, it's simply that bad because again, you don't have the economic power that you once had. So yeah, there's $50. It's about $50 to meet that $1 parity. And that's the cost of value of the $1. The value.
But it's not
So
only the American dollar, but the euro and the pound and other currencies, all the other 27 currencies linked to the European countries are all losing their value, which means that when they pay us back, if we accept the what they give us, we're just going to have some useless paper and so or some useless ones and zeros to take back on the continent.
well,
I don't think
come on, brother
I don't think
Asaf,
Yeah.
you're dipping into some things, brother Asaf. You dip. Okay. Ninja Firewall says, don't forget that Russia always brings us up when the West cries human rights or cries about human rights. Yeah, they can't. So they don't have an actual leg to stand on. Their construct, their concept is not good. It's bad. It's a bad rationale. It's a bad framework. So again, you know, and we're gonna revisit the soccer thing, but shalom, brother. Uh Shalom, brother Eric. Sorry, I have like a couple things going on in the background.
I thought you was gonna say troublemaker number 2.
Oh, you are a troublemaker, but I was just trying to be nice to you because
you both need plenty of water to go down on. I like you. You're both troublemakers, and I love it.
Shalom,
The
Dr.
plain
Ken.
speaker.
Shalom, sister.
Hello to you, brother Eric. How are you doing?
Doing good. Wise elder, Asaph, Wagwan.
Uh,
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Medabot.
Blessings to the
You know
chat
what I say?
panel. So I just saw what Peekaboo put up how it's saying the dollar is only 0.02 cent. And it just brought back memories like how usually I honestly believe they definitely, well, we're going to get the reparations regardless because the scriptures say so. But if you ever notice, when things hit rock bottom, when the team is not doing good, when the business is not doing well, who do they usually bring in to not necessarily to bring the business up or bring the team back, but just to say, okay, now we're good enough to receive or to have such a thing. Usually it's a black coach, it's a black economist or
a consultant. It's a black consultant advisor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then they then give us the team, right? No sooner we turn the team around, then what they do? They take it and snatch it right back.
Yep. All right. Thank you. You're no longer. Your job is no longer. We've decided that we're getting ready to move on. But I kid you not. I had that in my last job.
We're gonna go in another. We
job.
decided to go in another direction.
Another direction. Yeah, exactly. Wait a second. Is this One Direction? Is this a new band group? Huh? Is this a what?
Doesn't that sound like when
you know we're gonna cut them a check because now, for as they concerned, the check ain't worth anything. You know, but it's gonna be worth something because the Most High said we're gonna leave here with great substance. So,
I honestly look at the great substance like this. Man, give us our patents, give us all of our ideas, give us everything that you done stole from us. Man, give us our inventions. Look, our one brother over there in Buffalo that was assassinated. Because why? The hydroelectrolysis machine that he had patented. Do you know that destroys oil? That literally destroys the U.S. economy.
Yeah.
Like I have to, it's hard for people to understand this.
You said who did they kill?
Oh,
The
one
brother that
brother over there in Buffalo, New York.
I didn't hear about it.
This
that
was
was a
like
few
years
years
ago.
back.
You're
This
not
is
talking
years
about.
ago.
You're not talking about Moses.
No, not Moses West. No, he's still alive. Hallelujah.
Oh, okay,
Keep him in
okay.
prayer too, because he has the AWG air water gas or air water generation.
Right. Okay.
So
I didn't hear about the other guy. I know there was another guy. He was using. I didn't mean to cut you off. He was using. Was it plastic to make
plastiline?
food?
Yeah, the plastic
Yeah.
plastiline. Yes.
That's the one they unalived.
No, they didn't. No, this one was different. The
Oh,
plastiline, you're still using byproducts of gas, so they're cool
okay.
with that. As
Okay.
long
So
as
I
you're
didn't
still
hear
using
I didn't hear about the guy you talking about.
yeah, as long as you're still utilizing, carbon based products, they're cool with that.
Oh, okay.
This guy, he was running, and you saw the video and everything else. He was running his engine off of water, and he's like, "Look, it burns efficiently. This is the engine. This is a motor." He showed that, and then not even a year later, when he put his patent on out, he was gunned down.
Wow.
Because there's a security guard at whatever grocery store is on up there in the Buffalo area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the Buffalo area. I'm not familiar with this. So somebody could Tops. Thank you, Cammy Novus. Yeah, he took out 10 people, and yeah, he was on that mission.
Wow.
He was on that mission.
All those deaths all those deletions that they're going to have to answer for. And that's even the ones that we just know about. There's things that we don't even know about, but the Most High knows. All of that they're going to have. It's that is why they're going through what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot even begin to even imagine what is going to happen the minute the Most High removes us from out of their hands. Oh my gosh, I'm not even going to, Eric, I'm going to say this to you. Even you will feel sorry for them. You will. You will. You will. So for all of us, we'll just be like, oh my gosh. Oh my God.
Chantel, honestly, sometimes when I think about what they have coming to them, I really do feel sorry for them. I almost want to shed a tear for them, because when you think about it, just if you could wrap your mind around when judgment comes for them, right? And then when they finally close their eyes and they wake up in hell and torment, do you understand that never ends? Like, can you wrap your mind about something that just will never, you hit a switch, it turns on and it never shuts off? I mean, you almost really feel sorry for them, that for anyone to have to go through weeping and gnashing of teeth for the rest of their existence.
I feel sorry for the children. I really do. The young one. The same way, and it's not, oh, I feel for them more than my own. Please. No. I feel for the children. I do. I'm not gonna lie. Look, we as a people, it hits different when we see the young and the vulnerable. When we're like, me personally, I'm not an animal person. I'm not. I really am not, right? But I do not like to see, like, when you see though, like when you know that they're harming an animal, and you know how much they love their animals, but then when you hear them doing that, it just, do you understand what I'm saying? It's the same kind of thing. Like, I just, knowing what's going to come to them is everything that's happened to us, but it's going to be double unto his double. I'm going to keep driving that home until everybody understands.
Me and you feel the same
But
way.
Yahuwah knows that we are a people of compassion.
Yeah.
That's why he's going to do the same thing like what he did when he closed the ark of the door in Noah's time. He's not going to allow us to interfere.
Yeah, I believe they get 4 times of what they gave us. And it's only fair because they earned it. They earned the stench reaching all the way to the heaven. They earned it. They earned 4 times of what they did to us.
Well,
Yeah.
they know this is why. Again, their thought process is this. Well, can you help us just save America? Can you help us save this? I don't want America to get destroyed. The problem is, it's like this. Look, I'm sorry, I'm not management. I'm not management. You're asking me. You're asking. Oh, now you want a black person's help? Well, what if I told you? Look, I'm just the sales floor employee. Okay, you have to take that up with the Most High, and he doesn't go back on his word.
Yeah, and listen, it's only right. I mean, look, think about what they did to our babies, our little ones. They had no mercy, no mercy. I mean, like you said, I'm unabashed, unashamed, unapologetic about loving my people. At the same time, I feel the same way. I carry that same energy for those that want to harm my people. You understand? I
Brother,
ain't never want no
Eric,
harm
their
for that.
excuse is that it wasn't us, it was our ancestors. We're different.
Yes,
Oh, well, they're proving that every day that that's not the case, though, isn't
but
it?
remember, everything. Listen, there's nothing new under the sun. The daughters of Zion are out of control, and the sons of Zion are out of control. If we're going to be honest and be truthful, we have to be honest and truthful about everything. Israel have to get our act together. You understand? But we have a savior that pours out his grace and his mercy on us. He knew we would never just turn around. He knew bulls and goats and all the sacrifices in the world would never set us straight. So he sent his son for that purpose. So I'm clear on that. You understand? That's why he said it's only going to be a remnant, because most of us just won't act right. We just won't do right. No matter what up, seeing our brothers and sisters. And I'm sorry to say, it's going to be another one. Nolan Wells ain't going to be the last one. He's not going to be the last one.
Yeah,
Because
we're hard-headed.
yeah,
A lot of our people.
I'm not even gonna lie. I hate when I hear that. I know you're speaking truth. I know it. But my stomach every time it twists, and I cry. I'm like, how many? I can't. I'm seriously. I cannot take it. I cannot take it, because it's like my
Sister
mind.
Chantal, how many European friends that we have that said they're your friend, but yet they support Mr. Farage?
Yeah. Well, I don't have friends like that. So, but yeah, even the
I have
one.
work colleagues like.
And yeah, because it's like he wants to do to us what is happening to you guys. Like, there's so many things that happen in this country that we don't even know about. We're finding out. Let me say this, yeah. I was literally saying this to my son. I said, you see those 3 girls and the mother that was destroyed on Brighton Beach, right, a few months ago, right? I said to my son, I guarantee you it was not one of ours, and it wasn't an Asian. It was nobody else. It was not a non-white person. It wasn't. Do you know why I know this? And I know Uncle will back me up. I know all of you would know this. The reason why it's not one of ours or any other form of non-white person is simply because if it was, we would have seen their face plastered all over the news networks for days. They would have made sure that we understood that, yeah, you people are killing each other. That's fact. If it was a brother that did that to this family, we would have seen it. They would have found them. Do you know how many cameras we have in this country? How many we have in London? Please. There's no way they don't know who this person is. I don't even think they're investigating it, if I'm going to be honest. Right? So
I can't comment on the investigation part because of what I do, but I can tell you for a fact that they found our men as well swinging from trees over here,
Yeah.
just like the United States. And when it happens, it's put down to the same causation as the United States. I'm only being diplomatic when I'm using words like that, in case I'm being recorded. Yeah, it's put down to the same factors, self-inflicted. It's just one of those things,
Yeah,
that's it.
because it's the same. Shalom, brother Asaph. You're absolutely right. And reason being, it's the same foul spirit. It's the same spirit of everything wicked and everything that's against us. That from Babylon to Egypt to Persia to Rome to Greek, it's the same spirit, because the wicked knows who the Most High's people are. He can't get to the Most High. One of the worst things a person can do. You like an individual, but you can't get your hands on them or can't do them harm. You go after their children. Just imagine that. The innocent. You understand? So when they fed our babies to alligators, right? When they drowned them, and when they cut the mother's stomach open during the Trail of Tears, and the baby spilled out, and when the baby was still alive, they took the baby by the feet and smashed his head against the tree and killed it, then made the mother then still walk the Trail of Tears.
Mm.
You understand? They don't call it the Trail of Tears for no reason. These is all the wicked things these people have done to us. So
Yeah.
when the scripture says,
Eric,
happy shall thou be when they dash thy little ones against the stone, he
yes.
said that for a reason.
Mm.
Do you
Well,
know it?
and let me explain this, because again, the U.S. found the right one with Iran. They found the right one, and you have to, and so a lot of people, what they try to say is this: well, it wasn't us, right? That was that. What are they trying to do? They're now. It's really kind of sad. It's funny, but it's sad now. They're now trying to delineate within themselves. It's not me. That's MAGA. It's not. It's I'm a conservative, but they're Proud Boy. That's National Front. They're trying to delineate their level of what wickedness.
The Bible says that they were going to turn on each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's Joel chapter 3, you know. But I just wanted to quickly say this in regards to what you just said, Brother Eric. You know, they put this in their movies and their books, their exploits on what they've done to us.
Right.
Like, you know,
Absolutely.
that's a scene in, I don't know if anybody's, it's a scene in, what's it, Game of Thrones.
Mm.
It's not actually, I don't think it's in the show, but it's actually in the book. It was I've forgotten the name of, it's been a while since I've read the books, but the princess was married to a Targaryen, and I think it was one of the other Targaryens found her child and did exactly that, but stomped on the baby. I think it was the mountain did that.
Mm.
So the same one that destroyed the guy that he was fighting against at the oh gosh, it's been a while, man, since I've watched that show. But yeah, they write this stuff. See, I told you they're not original. They just write down what they've done,
They're
and a
writing
lot of
their confessions. It's really
Yes.
they're writing their confessions, and they're trying to have it as an entertainment value instead of like, this is actually the real deal.
Yeah, and when they're making these slave movies, they're not making these slave movies to acknowledge their wickedness. They're
Right.
reminiscing. They're
Yeah,
reminiscing of what they used to do. They're relishing over our suffering. It wasn't enough to kidnap us and to put us to hard labor and under the lash and and the heat and the cold and all of that. No, that wasn't enough. We are made to suffer for these people. They enjoy it. It's like a drug. It's like some kind of crack for them to see
Yes.
us suffering.
Tyrus, Tyrus, yes. Prince Oberyn's sister, yes. Thank you.
I don't change the subject too much, but Dr. Copeland, I just sent you an article that the American government is being sued because of what the sanctions on the ICC in your own court system, because it affects your constitution is against it. So, oh boy, it's happening one by one.
Yeah, it is, and it's funny. It's funny because why that also goes into what that also goes to what Marco Rubio was saying, the senator, or not, excuse me, the State Department, right? They're doing away with, basically they don't have a State Department anymore. It got cut, and now these folks are getting ready to get sued because they're going against the ICC because they're trying to obviously
The
obviously
headline is
trying to hide.
U.S. groups. The headline is U.S. groups sue Trump administration claiming ICC sanctions violate the First Amendment.
Yep. Yeah, let me get on here because the other one was a little articles that you send, brother Asaf. You know, those are pay to read. Unfortunately,
I
that's how
know.
that goes here.
What it says is two U.S. advocacy groups sued the Trump administration on Wednesday, alleging that sanctions targeting the Palestinian Rights Organization, the International Criminal Court officials, and UN experts have unlawfully violated American First Amendment rights. The lawsuit filed in a federal court in Manhattan argues that the administration sweeping 2025 sanctions package is had a profound and chilling effect, and that is going to be heard quite soon.
Yeah, because they tried to sanction Francesca Albanese, the UN
Yeah.
Special Reporter on Human Rights. They try to go after people. You come through, and you are actually doing, you're standing up against the wicked. This is why when people are like, oh, it doesn't really matter. And I have the article right here. Kate Brown wrote this from the Guardian .com. And that was as of today, 6 a.m. Eastern, when we got this. Yeah, the U.S. group sued Trump administration claiming ICC sanctions violate First Amendment. And now, I don't know. I don't think she is a U.S. citizen, but so so the advocacy groups and things of that nature, they want to go after the ICC because, again, under this, and this is the executive order 14203, that the Trump administration, the executive administration, is trying to uphold. And they're literally destabilizing all of these types of, global activities. And remember, the global activities were actually utilized to help insulate the U.S.'s activities against us to begin with. That's the coldest thing. Whenever what you tried to do, it judo flips you, and you're the one landing on your neck and shoulders. That's the judo flip. So now what this is doing, this is now creating all this is going to do, it's going to strengthen the ICC's resolve and provide more legitimacy to the ICC. Does that make sense? Am I reaching there? You all let me know.
Yeah, you are reaching there. You are reaching there, my brother. And this is this these things are unfolding so quickly. It's unreal. We're talking about this uh, and how the progress is going, but every day it's something new that's coming up that turns the pressure up a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. So when that case is going to be brought, I believe it's going to be brought, in my opinion, by courtesy of Ghana with the backing of the African Union. They've already stated this. A lot of the folks are getting mad. They were Afro Think Tank. I think Yacoba shared the article with Afro Think Tank, and people were going in, and it's still a lot of the ignorance that's there in the sections, because again, yes, and I tell people it's like this. Um, it's the same thing that you have today. You see what I'm saying? It's the same construct and the same concept that you have today. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of why they don't have any leg to stand on when it comes to our brothers and sisters on the continent having been engaged in the transatlantic slave trade. Because you want to know why? They were doing the same thing to this very day. A lot of our people tend to forget the crack epidemic of the 1990s. I'm going to tell you, my family was affected. I had a cousin that was affected and impacted. Went to jail over a couple grams in his car over in Newark. 80s and 90s. What ended up happening? It was actually found out that the government, the CIA, and they admitted to it, the CIA had a very big hand in that operation. Remember the whole Oliver North thing?
God, they even glorified that in Family Guy.
Yeah, exactly, because that's what happened. Now, the reality is, who was targeted? It was our neighborhoods that were targeted. It was our people that were targeted. And who were they using to target us? I never saw, white folks over. Look, I watched the movie Colors. Rocket Man wasn't no white boy. I'm just saying. I watched the movie New Jack City. Nino Brown wasn't no white dude. I'm just saying. Who are those gangs? Those gangs were Opie and hey, you know what? We're going to go and we're going to sell some crack cocaine to these black folks. It was our people. And when they get mad, especially when our brothers and sisters on the continent, because they're the only ones that still technically have a standing, even though it's still an artificial construct of some sort of territorial integrity. The point is that there were always white folks behind all of these issues. The logistics didn't just come from some black person going down, and you have one instance. That was Frank White. One instance. All these other movies, what's that movie with Tom Cruise? And he was a smuggling pilot. They only gave him a slap on the wrist. Because what he was actually doing was being backed by some three-letter agencies. They weren't going to do the dirty work. They weren't going to involve themselves in the dirty work. How did these tribes get weapons to go on out and catch and enslave, or to catch Africans for the enslavement, the later enslavement?
I'll answer it from page 160 of Squandered Empire. The government, the British government backed it, and private companies, and also in Holland as well, it was backed by the government. All the governments in Europe that conducted the slave trade backed it, and it was underwritten by the church.
Mm-hmm. That part.
Because the only way that you could do that is depersonalize one group of people and elevate another group of people, and that was done through religion as well, because they thought that they made it that the Neolithics who worshipped on a Friday, I'm got to be careful what I say, were seen as superior because of their their let's say their predisposition, and how they were educated, and use them to take the Bantu people according to the skills that they had, because it was only Bantu people that were targeted from one end of Africa to the other end of Africa, and they knew who these people were. The missionaries knew who we were, but they didn't care. You know, the only thing that they wanted us to do is to discontinue from our heritage, to serve them, and also if they have an Elohim that's in their own image as well, it assuages their conscience to some extent. But now that it's caught up with them, and we have the evidence, and we're showing them, it's becoming quite difficult for them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in a very good position right now, because their own, it's like the snake biting its own tail now, because their own legal system has been proven to be faulty, because people on the continent have seen that a guy can be poo-pooed in the back while he's running from an assailant, and then they plead self-defense and get off. And people are saying, but we got the same laws on our books. And how comes it works like this in these countries, and it doesn't, and it only affects one people? So the people on the continent are seeing, and they're talking about it as well.
Paris,
Absolutely. Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say I'm going to have to go. I want to say thank you for having me on, and shalom to everybody in the chat. I pray that you all and your families and your children remain safe and guarded under the Most High's gaze. I like I said, I can't take it anymore hearing about our people. I seriously can't. It's getting to the point where it's just. I just need them. I need these people to go through a portion of what we go through, just to leave us alone, so they're focusing on that rather than on us. So shalom to everyone. I love you, and be at peace.
Love
All
it.
right.
The
Thank you. Thank you. Shalom, Sister Chantel. Shalom. Oh,
Shalom, sister.
well, and that's why I wanted to circle the wagons here, because again, what was done to us centuries ago, that's still the same model that you see happening here. Now they call it entertainment, and now your entertainment is based on, being able to delete ourselves or be involved in some other criminal activities or things of that nature that then helps with the ability to have the prison population be stacked or supported enough that then creates that economic model. Because again, all this is economics, whether you're doing it freely or you're not doing it freely. So this is now the case that we are looking at, because again, when people say, well, it was other Africans, selling Africans. Well, yeah, and it was other African Americans selling drugs. But who was the drugs provided by? So, it is one of those things that again, you have to understand people that try to push this narrative. Well, it's other Africans selling Africans. Who do you think they're getting those narratives from? These folks don't want to be accountable, so they're going to push other people to push their message. They've been doing this since the 1400s. That's why I tell people, I'm like, man, we got to get out of our colonized minds. It's a real thing to be under a colonized mindset, mind frame.
It's just like some content creators in university graduates, that are content creators. I'm not going to mention any names. Are saying that the African Union is going for their reparations, which is nonsense. You're not going to get reparatory justice or get paid in the land that has held you captive. If you do, they're just going to recycle the money back to themselves. They can say, all right, 100% tax, 75% tax, inheritance tax, and all that kind of stuff, and then you end up with nothing. You have to leave.
Yeah,
But most of
go ahead.
Yeah, but most of them don't see the things that we see, Brother Karras, because not only are we filtering things through the scriptures properly, but we understand some modicum of economics and some modicum of the mindset of the people who's taken us as captives. And this has put us in the mindset that we cannot live amongst these people no more. I want to wake up and see an African sunrise on the continent. And in the morning when I wake up, I don't want to go out and have people laugh and smile at me because I look bigger and stronger than them, and they might get their head whacked in or something like that. I just don't want to be here. I just don't want to be here no more. Because if I walk into a place and I'm having a civil conversation with one of them, where are you from? And I was born here. My children are born here. And we have grandchildren that are born here and great grandchildren and people that have lived here for hundreds of years. But because of how you look, you're still considered a foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as you're concerned over there, it doesn't matter what you have, you're still considered less than. The same as me. They don't care whether you have your DBA or you have a PhD. As far as they're concerned, how they look makes them superior to you. An English person will think that they're more articulate and more intelligent than myself, who's read more books and written more books than they are, and they can't even do two times four because I've seen videos on TikTok saying that some people say 4 times 2 is 12, which is ridiculous. And these people are supposed to be more educated and more intellectually superior than us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But they don't.
Every
But it,
single,
go
yeah,
ahead.
every single. When I worked in the private sector, every single boss that I've trained that was gone up to manager, regional manager, director was trained by me. And then when you talk to people about it outside, and you can't do anything about it because if you want to take them to court, then you got to go without wages, and it's a 50-50 chance whether you get well, it's less than that, whether you get any justice at all, because they can come up with some brass plated excuse and some fiction and say that you didn't meet the criteria. You had the academic excellence and the technical skills, but you didn't perform. I'm tired of that rubbish now, Brother Harris.
Yes,
What's
exactly.
what's what say you? Because look at your background. It's an exemplary background. You have one of the most brilliant curriculum vitae I've ever seen. Well, I don't include myself in it. You should be the CEO or something, whether it's a security company, an IT company, or something like that. I'd say 99.9% of the CEOs in Europe and America are not qualified like us. What are we doing here? Not even to mention our tradespeople that are in the chat here, and our secretaries and whatever people that they've got some infinitesimal skills, but they make them feel like they don't know anything. Look at how Minister Rick's reasons. He's like a theology and economics and history professor, but the way that they've met that society has treated him and the way that he's looked on, he doesn't really project that unless we tell him that we project it. And we don't need to be among these people anymore. We need to go. We need to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This, I would say this, especially for all those that are listening. We know that the Most High is going to get the glory, but we also have to understand and realize what's happening right now in our world and how we are understanding what is happening in our world. Because again, the Most High just didn't say, "Okay, Moses, go down and get my people on out." No, what the Most High do? It was methodical. It was it took time because again, people had to have things explained to the people, and it wasn't just to the children of Israel; it was also to the Egyptians, because you can even see that the Egyptians had favor with the Israelites with Moses. Oh, Moses is saying this. Oh, we need to abide and adhere to it. What we're
Yeah,
doing
because
is, yeah,
we can see the same pattern now because the foundational Black Americans and the people over here that sold out, whatever they want to call their name, they're murmuring because they want to feel part of. Well, they don't want to feel. They want the system to keep going. Especially those from mixed marriages. Our politicians, are professionals, the one or two that them let through, that they know what oppose them. They use the donkey and carrot strategy so that we say if this person's made it, why can't we supposed to make it and have faith in the system, in a system that doesn't work.
yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, this has been a very interesting conversation because honestly, I wanted to talk to you about the World Cup and England versus Argentina because there's some bad blood there. There people don't understand the Falkland Wars.
And Maradona's hand of God.
Hmm. And that was
You know,
against
so
England, wasn't it?
that's correct in the 1980s. And I
Hmm.
think if England wins tonight, that we'll have the Falklands 2.0.
I think you are right. I think they probably would invade. It yeah, there's some geopolitical tensions that go on with soccer. This is interesting. This is very interesting. But who are you rooting for, brother Asaph?
Well, I'm rooting for the Most High, my brother. But if England wins, and my brethren are the ones that score, then I'll be full of style because we help them out.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Jude Bellingham. I'm rooting for
Yeah,
Bukayo Saka.
but look, Saka.
Saka. I'm rooting for Eze. That's, you know.
I,
Oh,
I, Saka's slightly injured, but I'm hoping that he feels better today because
hmm,
when he's on form, he can rip up any defense.
yeah. Yeah. Argentinians they told I Show Speed to go home. You know what I'm saying? I'm like that's very very brazen. But again, that's them. That's their culture. So it's interesting to see. And and I would say this. I told people, look, I met Messi. I met Argentina on their like World Cup run back in 2019. Um, you know, so I got his autograph. Look, I don't, but understand the history of Argentina, and now they're showing who they are. It's not going to be any love loss for me to see them go down. And to be quite honest, um, you have a lot more, just in my opinion, you have a lot more athleticism on Argentina, or excuse me, in England than you do with Argentina. You do, and they'll Cape Verde. I'm going to tell you this: Cape Verde was literally the they were the country that showed how to play Argentina. And they in Argentina again, they have problems with countries that have a lot of melanated people on their teams. They do. So that's what I'm saying. If FIFA doesn't cheat, let me give
Yeah,
that caveat. If FIFA doesn't cheat, then I see England winning this.
you know why Cape Verde was like that when they were playing against the other team? Because when they saw these Europeans, they didn't see Jesus. But when the other African teams play against them, they see the slave master. Because look at Senegal. Senegal won that match and then threw it away.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
yeah,
and swinging it back to us. When we look at them, we don't see nobody anymore, and it's a problem for them. And the world has caught up to what we see now, and they want to shift the blame and put it on us.
yeah. That is exactly how this goes. It is exactly how that happens. So I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be interesting. This whole summer to me has been very very interesting, interesting to say the least. So yes, so I got to get up on out of here. I got to get some work taken care of because I am being pressed in the background to get things together. Um, good, bad. Look, the Most High does what the Most High does. It's pretty fun to see how he is moving, because he does stress a lot of these limits here, and it's good to see. And
Well, thank you so very much for having me, my brother Karis.
yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for
Have you
your
noticed when
analysis.
the Most High has always had me off work with chillaxing at home when all these things are going down? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, well, and again, a lot of people have to understand this is going to cause it's going to cause more. What they're trying to do, they're trying to degrade services, because it's going to cause more civil unrest. As I had stated, and I've been stating this for years, America's in a bankruptcy. They're bankrupt. You don't have 39 trillion in counting, and and that 39 trillion, they haven't even accounted for all of the other debts. We're literally, someone had stated this, purportedly, that we're about 160 trillion dollars in actual debt. 160 trillion, because there's also corporate debts and things of that nature, unfounded or unaccounted for. So this is a debt based system, and imagine that you have over 300 million people that one day, well, we don't have services for you, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. It's not that people are going to try to stay here. No, those folks are going to be clamoring to get out of the United States. These folks are going to be clamoring to get themselves an inflatable and ship on off to Cuba and the Florida Straits. Hey, they can't feed us. We don't have jobs. We don't have anything. That's what, look, when people talk about blue helmets, I'm not fearful of it. I actually say I'm expecting that to happen. I know people are like, "Oh, that's not a good thing." Some people say it's not a good thing. I'm expecting that to happen. They're getting ready to do what? Shut down Medicaid and shut down other social programs. They threw their lot in with the DOD. That was it. Here's $1.5 trillion. Because why? Because that's what they're trying to do. Remember, Trump had even said this yesterday. He said 20% tariffs. Remember that? Or 20% to help with the Strait of Hormuz. He got rid of that today. You want to know why? Because of the amount of backlash that he got. Iran actually said, well, you know what? We're doing the same thing, but we're going to be far cheaper, and we're actually going to keep our word. That came from Abbas Aragachi. I thought that was pretty hilarious.
1%.
Yeah,
1%. 1%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here and I'm thinking, well, what's going to happen next week?
Yeah, well, and a lot of things are getting ready to, they stated that. I put that video on out there. Oh, well, we're not going to go to Carg Island. No, they're definitely going to go there. Because they're going to try to have a base of operations and a foothold. That's not what they do. So there's probably going to be some sort of expeditionary, some sort of Marine Corps landing campaign, amphibious operation, which is what that would be, to try to have a beachhead established. That beachhead will probably more than likely come from out of Kuwait, Saudi Arabia area. So what they're doing more than likely is they're probably doing a lot of the drones, a lot of the ISR and satellite imaging to, see what's happening. Russia and China, they are involved. Don't get it twisted. They're feeding intel to Iran, because the moment that the U.S. then does go against the territorial integrity of Iran, that is when you have a combined operation over in Taiwan. So Taiwan will flip like a domino, and then you will have Korea. Korea could actually spark on up because of the fact of you would still have a lot of U.S. operations heavily concentrated in those areas. Remember, they moved over a lot of their THAADs and their missile batteries over to Southwest Asia, basically the Middle East. So Japan will have to be fair weather. Hey, you can, sit here and you'll just get bankrupted even further. Because why? Because China took out their funds. They took out most of their funds from the Treasury. You will not see that because the Treasury won't report that until, a couple months later. And I believe the reporting is every 90 days. So we're in for a roller coaster. The best thing that they're trying to do right now, just like with every failing or failed government, is that you, number one, protect the dominant society. It's them. It's protecting the dominant society, and number two, the less fortunate society, which is us. It's they're trying to gradually have the pandemonium. So you'll see more of the prices and everything else in those areas. You'll see oil flows diminishing. You'll see gasoline.
We're sitting on the deck of the Titanic over here as well because we're holding a lot of your bonds.
Oh yeah, no, you all are gonna fold just like us. You all are gonna fold right in that domino, because as soon as that happens, then again, that's the UK. And the people that I think are actually going to be kind of relatively safe, it's actually Spain. It's Spain, and I was rooting for Spain yesterday. I felt bad that Mbappe went out, because he's one of the best players in the tournament, in my opinion, and he was really taking a stand towards white supremacy with his beef with one of the Paraguayan folks. But he was telling them. But I do have to say, the Prime Minister of Spain, there's no love loss with the Trump administration. And remember, last week, Trump had said, even on live on his little, like, hey, we're gonna cut off all trade with Spain. We're doing that. Remember, and then Bassett was right there, and he was with Ruda. This was last week. Now all of a sudden, they're playing in the final, and you already know at the final who's going to be there. July 19th. I think it's just, political theater. It is what it is. It is what it is. But yeah, I got to get going. I gotta get some of these things knocked on out, because
Shalom. Yeah, we'll catch you tomorrow.
Yes, hallelujah. All right, thank you, brother Asaph. All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming on in. That's my little bit of an analysis. So it's a changing world, isn't it? And we change in literally less than half a generation. In less than half of a generation. Within 5 years. I'm sorry. Within 5 years. You've had a generational change happening. Our sons and our daughters are going through this generational change. And I've explained that to my family. Hey, you may have been born here, but you may not be staying here. I've had this conversation with them years ago. And it wasn't to scare them. Oh, you're crazy. Yeah, I got the craziness. I had the you're crazy talk, and now it's the hey, what's dad doing? My kids are fully paying attention now. We don't even have to have that talk anymore. I just say, how was your day? It's good. This. They know they're fully paying attention now. Their eyes are open. And the most thing that's heartening with me is that it's not just me, it's our people. We're having that understanding. To understand truth, that's not a hate word. Now they may hate that we understand the truth. That I don't know what to tell them. That's between them and the Most High. They may hate that they don't have the influence over us like they used to. That's between them and the Most High. I can't help them. I'm here to help our people. Gentiles, if you want to know what's happened, you are more than welcome to listen in and tune in. Because now you're starting to see that your own people over there in Europe are turning against you too, especially if you're here in the United States. Sorry, that's what's happening. You were on top of the world about 2-3 years ago. Now you're in a very, very precarious situation. And we told you that was going to happen. Look how quickly that flip happened. And it wasn't overnight. It took a couple years. So, if you'd like to support this channel, this is what we do. Hey, you can get mad at me if you want to. That's fine. I'm just giving you these articles. Everybody wants to get mad at the messenger. I'm just giving you these articles. I'm giving you this word. Well, you're saying something, okay? People get mad at their doctors when they realize that they have an ailment or something else like that. Oh, I got mad at my doctor. What? That's why it says we would have healed you. If we tried to heal you. Pew pew pow pow. Get the pew pew. No, I think we're done. That's it's not out of hate or anything else. No, it's just we're done. We've told the Most High, we've given it everything that we've had. Just like Paul said, give them over to the devil because we tried our best. So with that, I got to get going. Got to get up on out of here. And with that, Most High willing, I'll be back on tomorrow. Thank you again, family, for your prayers, your support, your gifts. It does mean a lot. It really does. It does help me with getting things done here and in the background. For those that have not yet purchased my books or the Neo Diplomacy, you may want to do so because there are a lot of things happening in the background that you need to be aware of. And I can only give you that insight if you're able to really see and understand that insight and how that's working and moving even as we speak. Even as we speak. So with that said, family, shalom, salama, siyemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.